What's up? Welcome into your Daily Buckeye Blitz for a Thirsty Thursday, August 8th, 2024. We are winding down to the beginning of the season here. Just a couple more Saturdays to go. And you do have those garbage week 0 games, which don't really, do those count? I don't know. If nobody watches, do they count? Anyway, if they're not taking place in the United States, do those count? Seems like they shouldn't, right? Anyway, we've got a lot to get into today, giving you my top 3 offenses Ohio State will face this year, because there's really only 3 out of the entire freaking schedule of 12. So we're going to get into it. Please leave your comments on the videos, call, text, email. All my contact info is in the show description, whether you're listening on podcasts or on the YouTubes. But comments are greatly appreciated because that helps the YouTube algorithm, helps other Buckeye fans find the show. And that's what we want, right? And hey, don't be afraid to share the show with friends and loved ones and not so loved ones. So anyway, let's kick it off here. Number 1. Yeah, let's actually go number 3. Let's go 3, 2, 1 in that order. All right. Just to mess with you guys. All right. So we're waiting for the hammer to fall on these clowns still, the cheaters. They are number 3 in my rankings. No, they are not number 2 or number 1. They are simply number 3 because I think their offense is not going to be terrible, but they do have some holes. Let's get into it. So last year, they averaged 17 completions, only 24 pass attempts last year, even with a 5-star J.J. McCarthy in his 4th or 5th year, whatever it was. Only 24 pass attempts per game, 214 yards per game, average 1.6 touchdowns per game. And running, that's the basis of their offense. That's probably not going to change much, regardless of the quarterback. 38 rushing attempts per game. So 38 to 24 ratio. What is that? It's like 3 to 1. No, 3 to 2. Yeah. Anyway, 169 yards rushing per game was the average, 4.5 yards per carry, 2.7 TDs on the ground. When they get down inside the red zone, they're just going to hammer the shit out of the ball. Anyway, returning production on offense, 37% of their production is returning, but only 1 starter. That's a key there. You got Jack Tuttle. He played in 6 games last year, just, handed off at the end of the game, jerk. Donovan Edwards, he only had 500 yards rushing last year. 2022 was a much better year for him, but now he's the bell cow. He did have 30 receptions last year. They used him a little bit split out of the backfield. And then Colston Loveland, of course, 650 yards. I believe that was top 10 in the country, 4 TDs, 45 catches. Then their receiver, Samaj Morgan, he had 22 catches last year for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. So nothing outstanding there. Phil Steele in the Big Ten has their units ranked. Quarterbacks ranked 15th, running backs 5th, receivers 9th, O-line 7th. So middle of the pack across the board for these position groups in the Big Ten. That's not in the country. Looks like Alex Orji has a slight lead at quarterback. Again, these Michigan beat writers I think Ohio State beat writers know more about Michigan, the team, than the Michigan beat writers do. So I heard conflicting reports recently. One said Orji's a starter. One said Jack Tuttle's a starter. One says neither. So Orji is who I'm penciling in. Seems like he's the way they're going to go. He's more of a run option, a run guy than a pass. He does not throw the ball well. Assuming he wins the job, expect the Wolverines to continue their physical running game under Sherrone Moore. The other QB option, like I mentioned, is 7th-year guy Jack Tuttle. Tuttle was the backup last year. He was injured back in spring. Stop me if you heard that before. But at 6'4", 210, he's got the bigger arm if you want to get into a passing game. But again, I think they're going to go run heavy as usual, maybe even more so with a limited quarterback like Orji. Receivers, Samaj Morgan, Tyler Morris are the projected starters this season. They combined for less than 500 yards last year as backups. The two returning tight ends, or two returning leaders, are tight end Colston Loveland, Donovan Edwards. Loveland was fifth nationally among tight ends with 650 receiving. He caught a ball in every game last year. Edwards has a total of 2,500 yards from scrimmage and 19 touchdowns in his career with the Cheaters. And of course, Blake Corum is off to the NFL, so Edwards becomes the bell cow in the backfield. Now you got a new OC there, Kirk Campbell. He's promoted from quarterbacks coach, and he likes to use a lot of pre-snap motion to confuse defenses. He's got to replace 10 starters along that offense. So obviously, except the tight end, but expect him to keep the scheme similar to what Sherrone Moore was running. So again, Sherrone Moore is going to have a heavy influence on this offense. The O-line, typically the strength of this team. This season, there are so many questions. You got 5 starters are gone. You got left tackle Miles Hinton, the only one with any real playing experience. He's back. They went to the portal and got right guard Josh Prebe from Northwestern, but you got new faces at left tackle, left guard, and center. That sounds like a problem to me. That's why they're number 3 on my list. Number 2. Let's go number 2 here. I don't know. Let's go number 2. What a douche. That's not funny. I'm scrolling. Oops, I passed Penn State. Where are you at, Penn State? There you are. Drop a deuce on them. Penn State led the Big Ten in scoring last year, 36 points a game, but they had struggles against Ohio State and the Cheaters, of course. In 2023, they lost both those games. They scored 12 points versus the Buckeyes, 15 versus the Cheaters. That's not going to get it done. That was the only 2 times Penn State scored less than 24 points, just those 2 games. So things went kind of sideways in the middle of the season. They fired Mike Yursich, the OC, shortly after losing to Michigan. Now Franklin goes and gets Andy Kotelnicki from Kansas. The Jayhawks had one of the most dynamic offenses in the college football last year. So the goal for Kotelnicki is to get Drew Aller to play freely with quick, short passes and RPOs. He also brings a lot of shifts, pre-snap motions. Seems like everybody's doing that. I just mentioned that with the Cheaters. So this will be probably a welcome sight to Penn State fans. Aller was good on rollouts, so expect more of that too. Kansas also ran a lot of triple option. We'll see if we see that. So the 2 areas that really need addressed on their offense are explosive plays and third down conversions. Their returning production, 88%. That's one of the tops in the country. Drew Aller, 2,600 yards, 25 TDs, only 2 picks. So the TD to INT ratio is tops, but 60% completions, 200 yards rushing, 4 TDs. I think he should have pulled it down more often, honestly, because he had like nobody open downfield many times. Running backs, we know these guys. Nick Singleton had 750 yards, 8 TDs last year, also 26 receptions out of the backfield. So keep that in mind. Then you got Katron Allen, 900 yards, 6 touchdowns. And the tight end, Tyler Warren, he's one of the best in the country too. Definitely one of the best, at least in the Big Ten. 34 catches, 422, and 7 touches. So Phil has the quarterbacks ranked 16th in the country, running backs 2nd. What else here? Singleton is dangerous in the passing game because if you get him in the open field, he can hit the home run. He's 6 foot, 226. Katron Allen's 5'11", 225, so very similar. So the big questions are the receivers on this offense. They lost their top receiver, Keandre Lambert-Smith, to the portal. He transferred to Auburn. He would have been Aller's top target. Now you got Julian Fleming comes in from Ohio State, of course. He had 22 starts, played in 38 games, a total of 963 yards in 4 years at Ohio State. So not very productive. Dealt with the shoulder injuries, we know. But he's never been the main target in an offense. He's always been used as a complementary receiver. Even going back to his high school days, he was in a running offense. He was just blocking downfield. So you also got Caden Saunders. He's going to be in your slot, not your slot, somebody's slot. I don't know. James Franklin's slot. I don't know. And then you got Harrison Wallace. Coaches are excited about him. He should be more involved in the offense this year. And Tyler Warren, I mentioned, could be one of the best tight ends in the conference this year. They do have a home run threat with Omari Evans, and he averaged a depth of target last year of over 20 yards. So look for him. O-line, not a lot of experience here. Phil Steele has them ranked 34th in the country. They got some help in the portal. They got a former five-star recruit, Nolan Rucci, out of Wisconsin. He's going to be competing for that right tackle job. And you got 3 spots that are new guys. You got what is this guy? A senior, a sophomore, and a junior at center, left guard, and left tackle. Drew Shelton, a left tackle. He was a former 4-star recruit, so some pedigree there, I guess. All in all, this offense is going to go with the running game. I mean, they have to give Drew Aller, some space, let him operate back there and be successful, and then move it along. The run is going to set up the pass, I think, and we'll see what they get into with these RPOs and options and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical on the triple option idea, but maybe if it works, screw it. All right, so that was number 2. I got the Cheaters 3, Penn State 2. The Ducks, I got number one offense the Buckeyes are going to face this year. Again, please hit me in the comments if you disagree or you want to shake up the order. Let me know. So they got last year pass attempts. They had 37 pass attempts per game, 31 rush attempts. So a little heavier pass to run ratio here, kind of the inverse of the Cheaters. They averaged 347 through the air. So big game hunting, 5 sacks they gave up on the year. That's amazing. Helps with a mobile quarterback. Rushing, 185 yards per game, 5.9 yards per carry. They scored at least 31 points in every game last year. Returning production for the Duckers, 34%, mostly because Bo Nix moved on, but Jordan James returns. He had 750 last year on 100 carries, 11 touchdowns. Tez Johnson is the focal point here of this offense. He's a 1,000-yard guy, 86 catches last year, 1,182 yards, 10 touches. Trayshawn Holden's another guy, 37 receptions, 450 yards, 6 touchdowns. And their tight end is good too, 42 catches. Terrence Ferguson, 414 yards, 6 touchdowns. So quarterbacks, we know they lost Bo Nix to the draft. They bring in transfer Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma. He is a true dual threat. He can hurt you with his legs and his arm. He's a little undersized in my opinion. He's like 5'11", but I think Johnny Manziel type of guy, minus the coke and hookers and all the other stuff. But yeah, maybe not as fun. He completed 69% of his passes last year at Oklahoma, 30 TDs. He ran for 12 more, so that's impressive. Phil Steele has him ranked number 3 unit in the country at quarterback. They also landed Dante Moore, former Michigan 5-star from UCLA out of the portal. So Will Stein's the offensive coordinator there going into his second year. He emphasizes this good decision-making by the quarterbacks. So he uses pro-style concepts, a lot of RPOs and run action, play action passes mixed in, of course. So he wants to pressure the opposing defenses and take shots downfield. And he has the bodies to do it. So one thing I did want to point out, most of Bo Nix's throws were within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage last year. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue that with the occasional deep shot over the top, or if this is going to be maybe more of a deeper passing attack. We'll see. Running backs, Phil Steele has him number 16 in the country. Jordan James, 5'10", yeah, 5'10", 210. Yeah, I mentioned he went for 750 last year, 7.1 yards per carry average. Noah Whittington, he's just 5'8", 194, but he's returning from, I believe he's returning from an injury. Yeah, he had a season-ending injury last year. They also got a Division II transfer, Jay Harris. He averaged almost 6 yards per carry at Northwest Missouri State. Receivers, Phil Steele has their receiver group #1 in the country, led by Tez Johnson. He's not a super big dude, 5'10", 160, but he's explosive. They added Evan Stewart, the former 5-star recruit from Texas A&M, 6'3", 175. He's a junior now. He went for 500 yards in just 8 games last year with A&M. So he's definitely going to be a weapon. Should be a starter. You got Trayshawn Holden, a little bigger dude, 6'3", 214. He's back. He was dismissed from the team in February of 2023. He had a felony arrest, which the charges were later dropped. Don't ask me why. I don't know. You might remember him. He was at Bama for 3 years, then transferred to Oregon in 23. They also got a USC transfer, Gary Bryant, 5'11", 180. He had 400 yards with the Trojans. And Terrence Ferguson, we mentioned. O-line, the top 2 tackles Ohio State's going to face are Josh Connerly Jr. and Johnny Cornelius. They're the best pair that we're going to face this year. Cornelius allowed pressure on only 2% of his pass blocking snaps, the lowest of any power forward tackle. And then they brought in a transfer from Indiana. He should be solid at right guard, Matthew Bedford. And then Lalulu, the center, he'll take over. He's a 4-star from the 2023 class. So looks like the Oregon offense will again be one of the most productive units in college football. We'll see how Dylan Gabriel fits in and how he can move this offense. The running game is going to be strong, and the pass game is going to be the focus. Though, like I mentioned, that 37 to 31 pass to run ratio last year. I would expect more of the same this year. So that's my top 3: Oregon, the Ducks, Penn State, and the Cheaters, the Wolverines, #3. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me in the comments. Talk to you later. Go Bucks.